Hello, everyone. Welcome to Balanced Living, where we dive into how to be grounded in these modern days. Last time, we talked about the benefits of mindful meditation and how it can help strengthen our ability to calm ourselves and to be more grounded and focused. Today, we're going to continue on into the subject of the 4 meditation types. And today's topic is about reflective meditation. So we're going to talk a little bit about why it works and also the benefits that we can get from it. Welcome. Before I get into the ins and outs of reflective meditation, I want to share a bit of background on our brains with a very popular theory. So there is a theory out there in the world of psychology called the theory of mind. And this theory basically explains the ability to understand and take into account another person's or another individual's mental state. So in other words, this theory explains our ability to mind read. And that's a funny way to say it, but this theory suggests that our brains developed ability to basically mind read as a form of human evolution. So back in our prehistoric days, the humanoids who mostly worked as individuals, we think that the Neanderthals mostly worked as individuals, they were in more danger than us. Well, we're going to keep it in general. There were Neanderthals and there were Homo sapiens and there were other humanoids as well. And now the Neanderthals, they weren't really at the top of the food chain. They had to fight against other animals on their own. But then the Homo sapiens came around with their strong ability to live and work in large social groups. And we did so well in groups that we actually became the top of the food chain. And even now, as you're watching this, even if you think you're a loner or you're usually alone, you're still a part of a group because you're a part of a society and are capable of participating in the economy. You benefit from protection of large animals. Even the home you live in and the food you eat, it was probably created and distributed by someone else. So because we did so well in groups then, the theory is our mind evolved to be brilliant in groups and not so much as individuals. And you can almost say we were made to thrive as a group. We were made to be in colonies. So as I usually say, there is a downside to almost everything. And so the downside to performing best as a colony is that the most dangerous animals to us were other human tribes. So a theory of why the Neanderthals mostly got extinguished and wiped out is because they had to go as individuals against a human tribe. You can think of it as an individual going against a corporation. It's going to be a lot harder for the individual to win. We see a lot of this dynamic where other humans are the most dangerous animal when we watch post-apocalyptic TV shows, especially zombie ones, where the human groups are more dangerous than the threats of the world. So this is why we think uncanny valley, the fear of things that look almost human, scare us, because it's almost like we're programmed to notice the differences in other tribes. And with uncanny valley, like robots or dolls, they look human, but it's a lot harder to detect what they're thinking. And we're really programmed to notice even the subtlest of facial expressions. It's really quite amazing what we're capable of doing as humans. So because other human tribes were more of a threat, our brains have this amazing built-in system to not only help us coordinate with each other, but to also read each other's intentions. And because we can see other people's states and intentions so easily, we can use that same ability or software, if you will, to understand our own intentions and our own states. You might think that understanding our own feelings and our own intentions and our own states would be a no-brainer, but the reality is we react and we run on programmed responses that we often don't understand at all. Most of what we do is subconscious, about 90% of what we do. So if you ever said to yourself, why did I do that? Or why do I always sabotage myself? Or why do I always get scared and hide in this particular situation? Then you've seen firsthand that sometimes we just don't know how we tick. So the same hardware, software that we use to read each other's intentions, we can use it in a reflective meditation to perceive our own interior states. And the software I'm talking about is called mirror neurons. And what's interesting about mirror neurons is that it appears that humans and us as a species, we have a lot more than other mammals. We just are meant to do this. Let me give you an example. If I go to scratch my head right now, your body can tell what it is that I'm doing. It can tell what it feels like. It knows why I'm doing it. And also, your body can sometimes even feel it from just watching. And this is why watching a scary movie makes us afraid, or watching something sad will make us cry. The neurons that fire internally give us the feeling of what we're observing. So that ability to do this is what gives you the theory of mind, or the ability to mind read. And we have a sense of what's going on in the brains and bodies of others and ourselves because of this ability. And of course, many of us are much more naturally good at doing this and more naturally gifted at doing this than others. So we can strengthen and train this ability with reflective meditation. And as usual, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but essentially, the meditation requires us to watch our own habit patterns and thoughts as they come up. And it's best if we distance ourselves from them and become a spectator to them as opposed to being a participant. When we're a participant in what we're observing, it can become our identity and it can become our story. We can easily make it us. And then we'll end up having a reaction without us even having to think about it. When others do things that upset us, if we're a participant and we are claiming it and we are taking part of it, then it's easier to take what they do or say personally, as if they attacked us personally. So let's say, for example, my love for fasting. I'm very much into fasting. I've even written a book on it. So if I were to make fasting a part of my identity, then anytime someone were to say they didn't like it or disagree with it, I might hear, they don't like me. Or I might hear, hey, they have just disrespected me. And I would react in such a way. So reflective meditation watches how feelings give rise to thoughts and how thoughts bring about more feelings and how they correlate with one another to create strong emotional energy. This strong emotional energy is what starts the stories and the identities. So one way to do reflective meditation is to notice a time that you became very emotional about a situation that you've observed. And so you might think, ooh, I got really triggered when I saw this happen. And so you might think to yourself, I'm going to go ahead and sit on this later on and figure that out. And so you would commit to sitting or standing or lying down, and whatever way you're going to do this reflective meditation, there's so many ways to go about it. And you would observe the emotional reaction without judgment. You would be observing it from a distance. The emotions fuel our stories. So when we watch these thoughts and feelings in meditation, the more we learn to be an observer to ourselves, we will have less of a tendency to automatically react to situations in a programmed or habitual way. And we can also decipher our feelings with more distance without having to feel so much of it, as if we were watching it on another person. And so this is really beneficial in working through harsh feelings or hard times in PTSD and healing. It's really beneficial in doing that. We can also change some of our pre-programmed responses by asking ourselves questions during meditation, like, how do I feel about this? Why do I feel that way? How would I rather react and feel? And how can I do that? And just sit on it and observe the responses and the answers that come about. And you'll learn so much more about yourself in this way. So let's explore the benefits of adding this type of meditation and adding it to our soul diet, this soul food. So the benefit of this kind of meditation is that it enhances our social skills. So if you remember, I said mindful meditation doesn't really do that, but this one does. And we also have more compassion, and we take others into account more rather than focusing so much on our own selves as an individual. So by reflecting on our own emotional responses, we are more generous with others. So with reflective meditation, we now have the second important food in our soul diet. Next time, we will discuss enriching soul vitamins that we get from a loving kindness meditation. Until then, may you be well and be mindful.